comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. Vixen and Blitzen and all his reindeers pulling on the reins. Bells are ringing, children singing, all is merry and bright. So hang your stockings and say your prayers, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. He's got a bag that's filled with toys for boys and girls again. Hear those sleigh bells jingle, jangle, oh, what a beautiful sight. So jump in bed and cover your head, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight.
Good evening and welcome back to the Sim Racing Alliance Grid Report. Bailey, how are we doing tonight?
Oh, I'm feeling fantastic. How about yourself, Josh?
I am feeling pretty good now that absolute fun show of Laguna Seca is over and done with, and we're looking ahead to the final week of the season here. But
I'm glad we have different titles for what we think happened for this week.
I was gonna say, what do we start this off with? How did you feel about that track? We've now had to race twice in the last week.
I mean, going into it this week, I mean, I wasn't like looking forward to it, but like I wasn't dreading it.
Yeah.
Would be where I stood with it. But now that it's done, I'll tell you what, I have never been more relieved in my life about anything.
Ready to shelf that track for a little bit, eh?
Yes, please. Next thing you know, they're gonna shove it in next season and it's gonna be a wet race or something.
It'll be the next endurance probably.
Probably.
Yeah, but now that we can finally shelf that track, we can look forward to the last race of the season, being Kailami. Now,
Dialami.
Kailami, Dialami, Calamari, whatever you want to say, it's gonna
Salami.
be. Yeah, it's gonna be. That's one way to package it.
Yeah.
Anywho, just one note we want to bring up is change the scenery a little bit, try some new things, but as you'll notice for the third week, we are down a member. Just want to say on his behalf, Lucas has had to step away for a little bit. He's gonna focus on school. Life always comes first. This stuff is a luxury to be able to do, especially as much that we get to do. So head down, get those grades up, and we'll see you when you come back, man.
For sure. And many people might have been wondering, where's Lucas? Man's going to be a lawyer, so he's out making the world a better place.
Exactly. You want to make sure you got someone educated standing beside you when you run those red lights.
Exactly. Or take somebody out.
Yeah, with a little bit of a dive bomb.
A little bit. But yeah, so we'll see Lucas in the future.
We shall see him. Moving forwards towards our race finishes from Laguna Seca. Division 6 sees Nate Allen take his second win in a row. Ryan Luke coming in second place, and Anthony Calvi coming in third. Now, D6's race replay hasn't been posted yet, but I do have a little insider on the D6. Didn't give me too much on it, as we were all pretty tired after that race, but said it was relatively uneventful and pretty clean again for Division 6. Like another bout of people willing to drive side by side with each other, but also not just bumping each other off the track, which is very tough on this track.
Absolutely, and they've been doing it all season long, so I didn't expect them to change one bit for this track.
And just as a bit of a testament to the pace difference amongst that division, and it's funny because I'm actually seeing relatively same pace differences in the next division. Nate's best time was a 24.5, Ryan's was a 26.8, and Anthony's was a 25.1.
Yeah.
And
a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, we're gonna notice that all the way up and down these divisions. Like, there's some of these divisions where in qualifying it was like 3+ seconds split. Which is kind of terrifying. Like, that's almost like qualifying with another division.
Yeah, but if you look at previous races, I would say that it's been normally stacked within 2 seconds. Just the difficulty of this track there's people that have struggled with it who have absolutely aced it and who are 50-50 with it. They can hit a blistering lap and then the next lap's 2 seconds slower. So I'd say there's probably three different categories of drivers for Laguna Seca, just based on difficulty alone.
No doubt. It's quite the battle physically and mentally to try and get that car down to the apex on those corners, and
Hmm.
especially with the high temperatures that California brings. It's uh it's quite the combo, and I guess that's what you see out of it. You go for a fast lap and then overcook the tires, and now you can't do anywhere near the same lap time on the next lap.
Yeah.
But
And with the margin of error being so small for this track, most of the time you'll see drivers either going a little bit slower than they'd like, just so that they can get to where they want to be, and then you'll see people who push it and push too hard, aka me, and doesn't always end up the way you were hoping.
yeah, that's the double-edged sword of the racetrack, my friend. Do you to push
Yeah,
or not to push?
and that's racing.
No doubt. Now, Division 5, I will say, saw I think this goes right up with some of our other submissions here for drive of the season from Pat Cockcroft to take the win here. First place in the Porsche, Cube Master in second place in the McLaren, and third place is Jared Zitko in the Aston Martin. Now D5 had quite the debacle. Right as Shaq drove up to the server to say, "Hey, let's get the race going," Tyler stuck his head out the window and said, "Server machine broke." So we all had to like make a quick dive for server 4, and there was no entry lists, and people's nameplates were all the wrong colors, and there was no pit window, so everyone was all super confused. Made for a great start to the race. On top
Yeah,
of that, Jerry put in an absolute killer qualifying, got himself in P3, and during the formation lap decided to play peekaboo, teleporting around the map. I guess he was having some ping issues, and almost immediately off the start of the race, his car was teleporting in and out, and it was spinning around the racetrack and stuff. So his race ended pretty early, unfortunately. But for the most part, like other than that, Pat took a drive-through off the start. He was
oh
very out of position. Like we're coming up to the line and I'm looking at the camera like, oh, that Porsche's a little too far ahead. Drive-through penalty drops him down to P20 almost immediately. Uh, all eyes were pretty much on Jared after he kind of dropped last race, dropped that last win that he had with a few late mistakes at Barcelona. So all eyes were on him to make a bit of a resurgence drive, and he did, driving that car all the way up to P3. He was battling with Cube Master for almost the entirety of the race. They came together in the last corner near the end, and he ended up doing the right thing, pulling off, letting him have the move back. But that's just as racing goes. But they put on quite a show. Now, this whole no pit window thing did catch one driver off guard. Unfortunately, Connor Farrell did not pit at all.
oh no.
Finished P3 on track, which is a great drive. No, you can't fault a good drive. Like you have to have pace to still be able to do that. So a clap to him. But he is getting a post-race penalty applied. Um, the stewards have been nice enough to not give him the full equivalent of what ACC gives you if you skip the pit window. Like essentially, if you don't pit during the pit window, which it gives you, I think, 180 seconds.
Oh, I thought it was 130.
It's over 100 seconds.
Yeah.
Our stewarding team has decided to only add 60.
Oh wow.
So 1 minute, still going to drop him quite a few positions. I'm not sure
For
exactly
sure.
where because I think there's other penalties throughout the field that are going to go on, but it definitely does bring Jared up to third place.
Yeah, that's super generous and super lucky to only escape with 60 seconds, which is normally a minimum 2-minute penalty.
Yeah, it's
I,
most
I
people
don't
just call it
exactly
a
remember.
disqualification because of how much it
Yeah,
moves you down the order.
yeah, and 2 minutes is mostly a whole lap at most tracks,
Yeah,
at least. Yeah,
and with this track where we're going low 1 minutes, below 120s, it's pretty close to two.
yeah, that's super super lucky.
The one thing I do want to point out, just the pace that D5 have had and have had, sorry, all season long. Their pole time was a 1:23.3.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that was faster than I did in qualifying.
That was damn near close to mine. I can say that for sure.
Like, excuse me, what?
Yeah, that's insane.
There's definitely a few drivers down there who I look forward to see fight up in the higher divisions next season. Like someone like Pat, I feel is going to be on that top of D4, lower D3 barrier in my opinion. He's got a lot of racecraft and a lot of pace.
Yep.
And
And racing against guys that are your pace or maybe even a little quicker will improve you. So we could even see him moving up even further towards the later end of the season, next season.
no doubt, no doubt. And I'm sure that's what a lot of people were focusing on coming into these last few races is, how am I looking on the SR rating board? How am I doing in the championship? I really want to move up a division or I really want to keep from getting moved down a division. So they're putting
Hmm.
themselves into that extra gear here. And it's putting
Yeah.
on some great performances.
Yeah, and we're really I don't know about you, how much practicing you've done, but I've really been seeing the practice come in for not only this race but for Kyalami. The servers have been decently full
Yes,
with people getting the practice in.
I have never
So,
seen so many people consistently in the hot lap server. It is just people working on their stint, people working on their qualifying, moving over to and from the GT3 servers because everything's ever so slightly different. You've got that little bit of randomness. And like the boards are full, they just got completely reset.
yep.
So a lot of practicing going on. I've done a little bit. I did like a 25-minute stint, set a lap that I was comfortable with and actually really proud of myself with, and then on the following lap made a bunch of time and invalidated. So I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna call it today. Come back to this lap time next time as the target and try and
Hmm.
get that next little bit. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be a fight. This last race is already looking like it's gonna be a spicy one.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line for all the divisions. I mean, D1 maybe not so much, but all the way up and down the board there's people still fighting for the championship. There's people trying to gain that extra position, two positions there towards the end of the season, that 14th to top 10 maybe. So I mean, everybody's going to want to be gaining and have the momentum coming into season 6.
Definitely, definitely. I know.
Yeah.
Do you have any goals going into the end of the season here with like standings or anything, or just something you want to get
Um,
out of the last race?
I'd like to finish the race clean and just kind of move on as I've done 3 seasons now with this Audi and I'm officially moving on from it. So I'd like to end on a high note with the Audi. I'd also like to beat my teammate Taylor. So 'cause he likes to rub it in my face. So
Now, are you
that is my main
talking?
goal.
Are you talking beat him on track in the finale, or beat him in the
Both.
championship total?
We're split by 14 points, so I'm hoping to do both there.
So you got to beat him by at least 7 positions. It's about two
Yes.
positions, 2 points of position in the midfield.
Is it 2 or is it 4?
Think it's two. I forget where the split changes, but it's somewhere in between 2 and 4. So let's say 7 positions to 10 positions in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Gotcha.
got to factor in your drop races too,
Yeah.
which makes
And
it a whole different math puzzle.
for sure, which I am not interested in doing at all at any point in my life.
Neither am I. I'll
So
leave that to Dahy's bots.
for sure. Yeah, so I was actually on yesterday for I think it was 4 hours practicing and just testing for next season.
You what?
Just Kyalami alone. Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. I had a little bit of free time yesterday, so I
Sound
went and
sounds
took
like it.
advantage of it. Yeah. So yeah, I've been getting to know Kyalami because I've only done it in the wet.
Gotcha.
So I'm trying to learn it here in the dry with the Audi and with a couple of new cars. I'd like to figure out which one I'd like.
Awesome. We'll come back to that after, cause that's some you pique my thoughts on something that I want to ask you about, but we'll save it for when we start talking about next week's track. Let's move on
All
to
right.
Division 4. Matt Anastasi taking the win in the Aston, with Nick Cameron coming in second place and Landon Drebs in third. Tell us all about it, Mr. D4.
D4 was a roller coaster emotion. Um, The pole sitter, Landon Dreebs, qualified pole by, I want to say it was 600ths of a second.
Oh,
Um, from Martin Riggs, who we don't see on the board here. That's because, well, the whole debacle of what happened at the race was Landon Dreebs, I believe, did not start his car, and he didn't realize it until it was too late.
oh
So he
no.
ended up starting from the pit lane.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So he ended up starting from the pit lane. So that meant Martin Riggs was on pole, and he had a rough jump. And so he went side by side with John Donahue into turn two. I keep forgetting that turn one's not even really a corner, but
yeah.
and on the exit he just got spun around and got put into the wall. So he had that, and he just kind of left about 2 laps later. But another, I mean, we could talk about this every race. Another stupendous drive from Landon Dreves. He was so far back. He shredded through the field. I didn't think passing like that at this track was possible, but he made it look so easy. Um, I want to say when he came out the pits at the end of the pit window, he was 20 seconds back from the leaders, and he only finished, what's this? Quick math. 9 seconds?
Wow.
Yeah, 9 seconds back from the leader. Um,
That's a drive.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it was actually a really entertaining race. Just watching Landon weave his way through the field. Um, a lot of position changes, a lot of self-inflicted wounds, which we saw up and down the divisions. So
Yep.
not a lot different happened there. So great drive from them. Matt Anastasi had a decent win. He started from fourth, so he actually lucked out there.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well done. Good job, T4.
yeah. D4 was fun.
Now I see Nick and Landon were only split by like 2 seconds there. Did they ever get closer than that, or
Um,
was that just as
So
close as he
yes,
got to the
actually,
lead?
now that you say that, on the last lap, Landon was on the tail of Nick, and going into, I believe, is turn five. Yes, turn five. Landon went for it, had the move done, but he hit the sausage curb and ended up going straight on into the gravel.
Oh no.
Yeah, he had the move done for P2, and the unofficial result is that Matt Anastasi might get a 10 seconds because he actually took out Nick Cameron going down into corkscrew.
Oh
So.
no.
Yeah, that's unofficial, but we'll see. So he could be dropped down to P3 here.
That would be just enough to drop him to P3. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Pretty rough. So result is not official yet. So we shall see.
Keep your eyes on the GT3 series penalty channel for them to get released, and what may or may not change to the standings. I'll get updated pretty soon after those get released. I'd say within an hour. Does it take some
Hopefully.
time to go in and manually apply all the penalties?
Yeah, yeah. But that'd be huge for Dreves as he's actually chasing Anastasi in the points here coming into the last race.
And that's, like you said earlier, it's for a lot of these divisions, it's going to be coming down to this last race.
Yeah.
It's all about the last stand.
Yeah, and we're gonna see a lot of people absolutely sweating this week.
Yep. I know when I was in season 3 when I had the championship lead, season 2, whatever it was, when I had the championship lead that one season, and we came
Season
in
3.
when we came into the last round at Bathurst. Now I've done a lot of driving at Bathurst, and at the time I was really confident in myself. But it
Hmm.
was still like 1 through I think 5 or 6 had the chance to win,
That's crazy.
and it was I think if second place won the race and he had won 2 of the other races, it's like I have to finish third or better to have a chance at being close to him.
Was it Subtition?
I think it was no, was it Subsission?
Or was it Eric Boardman or Dylan Ambrose? One of those two, I
Ambrose,
believe.
because he didn't
Was it
show up
Dylan
to the
Ambrose?
last race.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I just remember Subtition was absolutely mega
Yes.
in that Honda.
Yeah, that and I remember going into that race, his times on the hot lap leaderboard. I'm like, oh my god, what
Yeah.
am I gonna do? He's
But
clearing me by a second.
yeah, I know crap who won that. Um Brian Anderson won that race in the Lambo.
Yep.
Yeah, he was massive. And then I think it was Eric Boardman actually caught him at the last lap.
that was another good season. But point of it, I'm
Yeah.
not bragging about myself, but the championships have always been tight, and it seems to always go down to this last race.
But that's what makes it fun. Who actually really wants to win by a landslide?
No, exactly. Like it'd
Maybe
be,
Ryan Yee.
yeah. I mean, we could have handed him the championship at the first round,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like, I don't know. When you think about it, like he's been so dominant all season, and it still took until the penultimate round to lock it out.
Yeah.
Like that's that's what I like about this. You're not just out. Moving forwards, Division 3 sees Jared Seckham take another win, helping him stay atop the championship. Alex Krocek coming home in second place, and Rafael Astolfo taking third. Now I think this is a perfect example race to go back and watch of very, very clean overtaking and driving and battling, and a lot of self-inflicted pain.
Mm.
There was a lot of people who fell victim to turn 6, is it? The fast left to go up the hill to the
Yeah.
corkscrew.
Yeah, that's turn 6.
That, and surprisingly, it wasn't the sausage curb that much. It was getting onto the green
That
AstroTurf on the outside, and the car like
Oh,
twitches around on you and tank
yeah.
slaps. It's so hard to catch that too.
Yeah, the overcorrection is brutal there.
Yeah, there was a pretty decent accident on lap 1 for these guys, just coming around turn 3 towards that Cooper's Tire arch that most
Hmm.
people know this track for, besides the corkscrew. There's a few people trying to drive off into the dirt and find their way around the chaos because there was like 2 cars that were pit maneuvered sideways in the middle of the track and were stopping, and someone else was stopping off the. It was kind of crazy to look at from the overhead, but the field did a very good job of getting around it in a safe manner. Some moves I wouldn't advise to, but hey, I can't drive all the cars. Um, Other than that, like the start of the race was relatively quiet. Other than that lap 1 accident, like Jared took a pretty good jump off the start and started to run away with things. Sykes, who was not on the podium, he started in P2 and had a bit of a rough start. Let Alex take P2 at turn 1, and he just kind of slotted in there for the rest of the race. Uh, there were 2 big chunks of cars that just decided to battle for like 30, 40-minute stints. Like for the last 10 minutes of the race, it was a 5-car battle for 5th. For the middle 30 minutes of the race, it was a 5-car battle for 11th. Like at the start of the race, there were people like going for moves at the corkscrew in the first 5 laps.
Hmm.
But it was all calculated clean moves, not like someone diving from 100 meters back. It was such a what's the masterclass? I would call it a masterclass for how to
Start its own episode.
for how to attack overtaking at Laguna Seca. Like it's as if these guys put in more hours than anybody else.
Yeah.
And
Well, the one thing with Laguna Seca that I mean, I didn't have a battle that long, but the one thing that I struggled with was being able to follow at Laguna Seca and like stay on the bumper of somebody to set yourself
it's
up for that overtake.
it's so hard. It's already hard enough to pick the turn in apex and outer apex points of a corner on this track, let alone doing it when you don't see the road.
Exactly.
And it's literally like these guys were tied to each other, like they're towing each other down the road. They were just right on bumpers, like shuffling around in the mid corner, taking each other's position, filing back in to take a corner, moving out again, filing back in. It was beautiful, man. Um, the big watch of the race, because of how settled the front was keeping an eye on Max Diggs. So he was P2 in the championship, but qualified P11 to Jared's
Wow.
P1 and P1. So we were kind of seeing, how far up is he going to get? The commentators were hoping that they were going to see another Pat Cockcroft last to first kind of victory here.
Hmm.
Um, he ended up getting up to P5 pretty darn early. I want to say in the first like 25 minutes. and then just got ate up near the end. I don't know if he pushed the tires too hard on the BMWs. I saw a few cars that seemed to be that case. I don't know if it was that or just, how much of a toll this track gives on you. But by the end of the race, in that 5-car battle, Kelvin Lau ended up, another car that was near the top of the championship, qualified low, ended up getting through the 5-car battle and taking the 5th place. But the real underdog of the race, I think, because he didn't get talked much about on the stream, was Rafael Astolfo. He had a very, very clean race up at the front, just quiet, kept his own, no incidents. And Sykes faltered in the pit stop. He had a long pit stop, and that let the door open right up for him to take P3. It just fell right into his lap. And it's kind of nice when you have those quiet races and things just kind of fall to you.
Yeah, the one thing I want to pick out about that, that really kind of got to me was when Kelvin Lau started SRA, he started in D5 this season. And you're saying that he's up there in the championship.
This season?
I believe so.
Hey ho.
He was at least
Did
Division
the
4.
broadcasters lie to me?
They might have. I just remember Kelvin Lau.
Kelvin Lau is P7 in the championship. He has 401 points. He is within shooting range of 3rd.
I could be wrong in thinking of somebody else, but I'm pretty sure Kelvin Lau has been moved divisions this season. Like mid-season.
I believe he has.
And to be fighting for the championship is absolutely unreal.
Oh yeah, it's like Mr. Sir up in D1. He's just. Yeah. Didn't he get on the podium last week or something like that? Like, what are you doing?
I'll say this. He's already classified an SRA alien.
He is?
Yes.
Oh my Lord Jesus! How is he in D2?
I don't know. But yeah, he's classified as an SRA alien right now. One of 10 drivers in the entire SRA grid.
It's quite the honor to have that classification.
Especially since after starting at D2.
Yeah. Just a little bit of puff your collar and say, yeah, how about that? Dust the dirt off your shoulders.
Either that or he was sandbagging at the start.
For real. One of the two. No sandbagging this season.
Just kind of goes to show you, though, the difference in D1 compared to D2 of how big his winning margins were at the time.
Yeah. Like, he was winning every race by, 40 seconds? D2?
Something like that, yeah. And then, it just wasn't fun.
And then just goes up there. His first race in D1, I'm pretty sure, wasn't the best. But then, the second race, he was up in the top 10. Third race, up in the top 10. Up in the top 10. Gets on the podium.
Yep. Consistently there.
I'll put a toonie bet down that he wins Kailami.
Not with... I would say... I don't even know if Ryan Yee is going to win this one. It looks like... I was looking at this earlier, what the leaderboards were looking like. Ryan Yee is not at the top right now. We got Jeff Spangler up there right now. That's leading by 0.3 to Danny Durant's.
Wow.
Yes, either Ryan Yee is not up to date with this track yet, or I mean, you can't win them all, I guess.
Yeah, but at the same time, for him to be that, I don't know, where is he on the leaderboard?
P3.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's fine then.
P3 by 0.3.
By the race day, he'll be fine. You made it sound like he's like P20. He's like
I mean,
2
we
seconds
just
off
automatically
the pace.
assume whatever track Ryan Yee is affiliated with, he'll be at the top of.
That is true. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I find this track is a lot like Laguna in the sense that you either have it or you don't. You gotta find the pace, and when you have it, you have to push the car.
Yeah, just a little bit longer of a track, but this track is so fun, so flowy.
Yes. Yes, 1,000 times, and I hope to last more than one lap this time.
Did you fall out last time? Was that last season?
The last time we had this in a season, dry. So the first time we had it, we were going out on the first lap, and I took the... Hold on, where's my track map? I took the left-hander of turn 5. Nope, turn 8. before that right-hander uphill, and I hit the
Hmm.
sausage curb on the inside, and I counter steered so hard that I pulled the shaft out of my DD.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I had no steering wheel control, and my car stopped in the middle of the track.
Oh
So
no.
I'm like, okay, find a way to quit the game.
Yeah.
Done. But yeah,
Alt F4.
so hopefully more than one lap this time.
Yeah, that's scary.
Because this track in the wet is very tough, but in the dry is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. The only time I've done this track is actually in the wet.
Really.
Yeah, and that was the last time we raced it here in SRA.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so gonna be looking to see what we can do in the dry
It'll be a good track to end off on.
for sure.
Division 2, our home and native land.
Our alma mater.
Okay. Whatever that is. Kevin Kovacs
It's an
takes the
American
win.
thing.
Okay. Takes the win in the Porsche. That I could have told you that last week.
Could tell you that 3 weeks ago.
Literally. Dan Cran P2 in the Lexus and Al Latufo P3 in the Porsche as well. Going into this race, it was the running joke that is anybody going to finish within 10 seconds of Kevin? And the answer is no.
Nope.
17 seconds to P2.
Yeah.
Quite the win. I had a decent time. The field was very tight. A lot of people were very defensive, in my opinion. But
Yes.
with good regard, like if somebody gets inside of you for a move here, you're pretty much done, unless you have a lot of grip, like really good tires. But it's hard to defend around the outside.
Yeah, I'm with you. I had a couple of instances where, I mean, you just got to get enough in there to where you at least have a chance.
Yeah, it's to the point that they just have to change the way that they're taking the corner.
Yeah.
A little bit of
I will
smart
say,
overtaking.
for me, I don't know about yourself, but this race couldn't end any earlier.
See, I kind of felt that by the time race day came around, but I hate the
Yeah.
fact that I feel that way because I've driven this track a lot. I really like this track.
Hmm.
I'm hoping to go there this year for Indy, and going into this week just trying to push and find pace on it. I'm just like, holy cow, I hate
Yeah.
this. I never want to drive here again. It just
That's
takes
how I
so
felt.
much out of you.
All week I felt that.
You could do 100 perfect laps and it'll feel okay. And then you hit the sausage curb once and everything is worth nothing.
Yeah,
It's just
it's
like I don't want to drive anymore. Throw this track up. Kim
yeah.
Jong Un, target over
Oh,
there.
Jesus. Lord have mercy.
It's only California.
It's gonna burn anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I had a mental struggle all week just because I would do a lap, feel so quick, then I'd go look at the leaderboard, which is my biggest mistake, and I'd be 2 seconds off the pace, and I'm like, where do I find what am I doing wrong? I feel like I nailed it. I'm like I did it. It's like a 23-2 or something like that. I'm like, how the hell is he doing a 21-0?
Yeah. That's kind of like again when we get there, but that's kind of like Kailami as well. Like
Yeah.
I felt like I nailed that lap that I put up on the board, and even though I had a couple tenths in the bag, I'm like, okay, I'd call that the perfect lap if I got those
Yeah.
tenths. And even then, I'm still like over a second from the best. I'm like, what? What?
Yeah. I learned this
Where?
season not to look at the leaderboards just because that would happen. And of course, the one track I did look was the toughest track, and it got to me.
Oh yeah, it
So,
gets to you. That's for sure.
yeah. Yeah. Then the addiction starts, and you want to practice, practice, practice. And sometimes you improve. Most of the time, you improve, and sometimes you just flatline, which I did here this week.
Yeah, just hit that brick wall.
Yeah. So, it's over now. Not much to talk about in D2. It's kind of dry, in my opinion.
Yeah, it wasn't too much going on.
No.
But I will say pretty good lap one.
Uh,
For
yeah, it wasn't super bad. There was a little scuffle on turn 2, but it wasn't anything detrimental to anybody, I would feel.
Yeah, there was one car who got spun on the starting straight,
Yeah, I saw
technically
that.
turn one, but even that, like they managed
He
to
might have been next to me.
feed straight through the. Oh yeah, that's right. He may have been next to you, and like
Yeah.
you may have been parked in his left rear wheel well.
Yeah, I was kind of just past his rear wheel there, and I don't think he knew that I was there because it was kind of a blind spot. But like I was pinched in between him and another car,
Yeah.
so I couldn't like go anywhere. I couldn't if I turned, I would have gone into the car next to me. So I mean,
Oh yeah.
it was a tough going.
I will say, watching it back in the race review, sitting in like the cockpit cam,
Yeah,
I even even I wouldn't have been able to tell that you were coming up that fast. It just looked like you
yeah,
were behind.
yeah. And the car next to me backed out, so it's like I couldn't back out because then we're hitting each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was just all just misfortune.
that's Laguna.
It is.
Nothing but
It.
misfortune.
Yep.
On to the last division. Division 1. Ryan Yee. Congratulations. You're the champion of Division 1, sir. Taking the win in the penultimate round. Danny Durant's P2. Jeremy Mercer in P3. Do you have any comments on Ryan's championship season here?
Um. Yeah, I think we should start a Ryan Yee division and only have him in it. Personally, I
Yeah,
mean
is
the
are you
the
saying he's now considered better than Matt Lehman? Matt
um.
Lehman's now just another D1 driver?
Would you say that?
I don't know. It used
I
this
don't know either.
the say around the league used to be the Matt Lehman division.
I think the longevity of Matt Lehman outweighs the performance of Ryan Yee, but Ryan Yee just was there every week, every race, whereas Matt Lehman, I think, was on the podium maybe twice.
Yeah, he had a little bit of misfortune this season
Yeah,
with some
so
mid markers,
I
but
think if we see um a like what we used to see in Matt Lehman, if we ever see that Matt Lehman again, I think he gives Ryan a run for his money, but I'm not sure. I can't say based off results, just because this definitely was not the Matt Lehman we know.
yeah, I agree with you there. And I guess you could make the point too that this wasn't really the most McLaren friendly season. There's a lot of people who said like these tracks aren't good for the McLaren. Like
Yeah,
Suzuka, for example, demands that you take a lot of curb to have a fast line, or at least from what I've found. And the McLaren just doesn't like anything with paint on it.
yeah, yeah.
It
That's
it even gets scared of itself. You're not sure about that one? Go watch it try and handle oversteer.
yeah. That is. I mean, if you just look at standings, you look at results. A lot of the people who drive the McLaren are high tier drivers and are no slacks, and they kind of just I wouldn't say underperformed, just didn't have the combination this season.
Yeah, and that's the a little bit of roll of dice with the way we do our deciding on things and then track reveal. Is you just kind
Yeah,
of you got to go with a card that you're comfortable with and hope it sticks. But I guess it didn't this season.
yeah. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. It's just kind of the way it goes. What I've noticed though is one season it may not pay off, but then another season it just shines.
Yes, the uh, the downfall is when people make brash changes. Like I remember there was one season where the McLarens dominated, and then a bunch of people switched to McLaren in like two races, and I think it was that massive BOP change came in, and the McLaren just took a nosedive.
Yes,
It's like, oh, now my car is just bad.
that's how the audio was in between season 3 and 4. It's season 3, the audio was I'd say 75% of SRA, and then it got the BOP, and I think if it was 10%, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, that's I would be too. There's not too many Audis on the grid anymore.
No,
And
there's not. I'd say maybe 10, 12 at most.
what do you think? What do you think this season's gonna look like? We saw a lot of people jump to the Aston, as it had success last year, but this year it's been Porsche, it's been NSX, it's been Aston, it's been Beamers, it's been the only car I think we haven't seen up there is the Mercedes and the Lexus. And no, we've had Ferraris win.
We have. I'd say, I mean, the Lexus to me has been lately just kind of. I don't know if it's overperforming or it's what's the word I'm looking for? Underappreciated.
Yeah, they have been having a string of very solid performances lately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like look at Dan Cran P2 and D2 in the Lexus
Yeah, and it has to be capable, especially to compete with the Porsches. When they dominate at a track, it's hard to keep up with them.
for sure. And I mean, even looking further in the standings in D2, Nick Wagner is, I believe, 15 points behind Michael Jeffries in the Aston Martin.
Yeah, it's
So I mean,
it's definitely a car that's piquing my interest.
yeah,
I personally, I look at it and I'm like, I like the way that looks. I want to see if I can drive that because I think liveries would look cool on it. And like now it's proving competitive, so maybe it's actually worth a try. But in previous seasons, I think there was like one or two, maybe three Lexus on the grid.
yeah. I always thought the Lexus was kind of like a GTR, kind of more of a comic car. Um,
That's the V12.
yeah, that's the V12.
Can
But
can we just
uh,
have a BOP update, please? Like if it's gonna be in the game, can it be competitive?
yeah, can we get a one for the GTR? Because I want to drive the GTR so bad. It's just it's so bad.
Yeah, it's
It looks so good, but it's just so bad.
it's I would call it a brick, but a brick serves
Yes.
its purpose well.
Yeah, a brake actually turns.
I don't think so. I think a brick sits
No,
still and has weight.
it might. But what I was gonna say is those who actually drove the Lexus this season really put it out there and put it on the radar of people because I know there's people on my team who are testing it out and really enjoying it so far for testing, but I think we'll see a lot more of it next season personally.
I think so too. A- I think that's one car that's gonna take a jump in popularity. Do you think
Mhm.
one car is gonna drop from the grid, or do you think we're gonna see one car like drop to Audi status, where it's a niche group?
Um, I think of the popular cars or what's left, shall we say. I mean, I think Audi's going to disappear completely. We might see a team or two. Um, but what I have told my teammate Taylor this season is the Audi is a good car to finish good, but it's not a race winning car anymore.
Gotcha.
So, like, I mean, just an example is we're second right now in the team standings. We're first for, I'd say, 2/3 of the season, but like the highest we finished was P6 in a
Yeah,
race.
you
It's
just
just
don't have that last gear.
it doesn't have that race pace. It doesn't have the longevity of an hour that like say the Aston Martin does or the Porsche does. Uh, but it's I mean it's a great car, don't get me wrong. I think it's the best car to use for defending as it has the speed on the straights, has just enough cornering speed.
Hmm.
Um I don't know of a car currently that will drop off like the Audi did. I think the BMW is a great car for entry people. A lot of people find it and stick with it. I think if anything, the BMW will drop off a bit. I think we see like a switch up between Lexus and BMW, but I think Porsche is going to overrun the grid next season. I think Honda drivers are going to stay in their Hondas. I think most Aston Martin drivers are going to stick with the Aston Martin. We'll see though, because a lot of people change when the track list gets revealed.
Yeah, which is odd because I mean, like you go through the trouble of getting a team made, getting liveries made, getting this, getting that, and the other. We
Hmm
reveal the track on Saturday, and you're gonna change cars for Tuesday's race. Like
I mean, I don't
that's
blame them. I don't have the confidence to do that just because I spend so much time having to learn a new car
right,
and
but
its tendencies.
I don't know. The way I look at it is like you chose a car. Okay, you want to drive that car for the season. Okay, then the track list shouldn't matter. If the
Unless you're
track li-
driving a McLaren.
if the track list matters, don't pick a car. Don't put a team or livery together. Then decide afterwards.
Yeah, I
But
think we'll
like
see a lot more of that though.
I think so. I know there were some people who were bothered by it, but at the same time, like I don't know, as I've kind of said, I like the blind challenge, I guess you could say. It's
I
just
do
kind of
too.
this is my car. I have confidence in it. let's see what we can do this season. Oh, the
Yeah.
tracks don't favor me, and look that. Maybe I pulled out a podium. Maybe I pulled out a bunch of top fives. Like, if you think about it, the season that I won was not very Aston friendly.
You were just an absolute beast behind the wheel.
I got lucky and had some decent qualifying pace. If you look back at those races, there were a lot of lap 1 incidents. I just happened to be in front of them.
Hmm.
It was luck.
And one thing I will say about you is that your second half race pace is kind of what changes it. It's you hold pace through the whole race.
No, I don't. I
Well, I
appreciate the
mean,
comment, but no, my second half race
that
pace
season,
sucks.
that season you definitely did.
Yeah, I had it there.
Yeah.
I'm desperately searching for that now. Because I come out of the pit window and it's like, where am I? Who is this car?
Yeah. This season's just kind of been a roller coaster. But yeah, just going back to that season, you were definitely really good after the pit stop.
That's I feel like that's a big key around here.
100%.
Because
I would take that over anything.
there's a certain adrenaline rush, I guess you could call it, from chasing cars. Like, you'll always be able to pull some pace out of yourself because you're like, I want to catch him. I want to catch him.
Mm.
I'm so
Yeah.
close. Or, oh, that was a really good exit. I got the ground. Keep it up. Oh, yeah, another good corner. Keep it up. And then all of a sudden you're behind him. But at the pit window, everybody spreads out. And you're behind blue flags and not blue flags, or maybe you're down a lap, and it's so hard to judge your pace off another car. Like, you have to have that instinct pace.
Yeah. And sometimes the car is with you for that. Sometimes the car is just gone by then.
Hmm.
So it's all about how you got to that point. And some people are just better at that than others, and it shows.
And a little tidbit to that, for Laguna actually, about my race. So I had some contact early on in the race, a little bit with your teammate, a little bit with the back of somebody's car. Rest in peace, Robbie. Um,
Oh,
sorry, sorry, man. But I had like 6 seconds in damage. I didn't repair it because I started driving and I got comfortable with the way that the car felt, and I was putting in fast laps. And the thing that I worry about sometimes is you come in, you fix all the damage. You've been steering for 30 minutes, compensating for damage. How different is that car going to react the first time you go to take a corner?
yeah.
And that, like, I've had it before where I think it was at Imola, and I had started turning really early to get the car to roll around a bit. I turned the TC up, and I dropped my TC back to normal, and I subconsciously took the corner the same way that I had been doing, and the car just spun right around.
Oh,
And I'm
jeez.
like, whoa. So
Yeah.
and then that screws with your head more, and but I don't know. It's racing. It's hard.
It is.
It's so
And
much
I've
more than just turning a wheel and pushing pedals.
It is. I had a constant conversation with a couple of the lower guys or the lower division guys in my team, and the thing that a lot of people struggle with, I've struggled with it in the past, is when you get in a wreck early, your motivation, your drive is so low that you just kind of like mentally quit and you don't have it anymore. You just don't want to be there. The hardest part is getting that out of your head and pushing on. Um, One example I can say that one person specifically that is really good at that of not mentally getting down was Landon Dreebs this season. He felt like a lot of the races he would um, have a rough start, but he kept his head down all race and would still come back, get a very good result, whether that was a win, a podium, top five. He kind of stood out with me, and I had that conversation with several guys, and um, I just kind of mentioned him because he's done really well this season.
Yeah, there's been a lot of standout drives
Yeah,
around this league, but he's definitely one that deserves quite a few pats on the back,
for
just
sure.
race after race.
Yeah. He's had a couple of races that were unfortunate, but to be fighting for the championship still is tremendous.
No doubt. And that's something we hear a lot on the broadcasts and a lot around the league too, is just that put your head down and just try and finish the race.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, you get past that I'm going to call it the anger. You get past the anger and you just get back into that, all right, I'm out hot lapping, and you're driving the car. And then something starts to feel good, or you start to make up ground on somebody, or make an
Hmm.
overtake, and everything changes. Like look at
Yeah.
Pat Cockcroft. Takes a drive through at the very start of the race in a very tight and competitive D5. Falls all the way to P20. Does he let it falter him? No. He gets out, just starts lapping comfortably, gets his pace, starts pushing. Overtake, push, push, push. And it's you can't like you said, you can't let those little things or those early things get to you.
Yeah. It's
But
hard.
it's a
It's one of the
very
hardest things,
yeah,
in my opinion.
it's exactly what I was gonna say, man. It's probably the hardest skill to learn.
Yeah. And like I said, I was really bad at that, and I mean, I used to have Taylor have to pick me up whenever it happens because it was almost every race I felt, and he'd have to pick me up. He'd always say, "There's a lot of racing left. There's a lot to gain. People are going to go off. People are going to have crashes. You're going to be quicker than 3/4 of the field, depending on where you start. So it's not over until you hit the finish line."
Exactly. It ain't over till the checkered flag drops.
Yeah.
A lot better than the other one about singing and large ladies. Breaking news! SRA has yet again another sponsor to bring you. And
A massive sponsor.
this one's pretty massive. I'm sure you've seen it
Yes.
flashing above with all of these, with this new rotating graphic I've got going on here. But we are now officially partnered with Go Setups. These setups are designed to extract the most of the car and developed by engineers and real racers to help many drivers accomplish the great feats in real life and esports. Go setups come in packs of 5 setups for each track, one wet, 2 quali, and 2 race. The dry setups have an esports and a safe setup version, so one that's a little bit more aggressive, one that's a little bit more like tire conservation, a little bit easier to handle. And the wet setup is made specifically for each track. I know there's some brands that do have like a generic wet setup, and you just kind of tweak your pressures or maybe your wings to each track, but they actually make a specific one for each track. We do have an affiliate link. If you use that affiliate link, a portion of all revenue that goes to Go Setups is split to SRA, and that just directly goes to helping fund the league. I mean, Tyler threw out a pretty wild stat today when I was sitting in class looking at Discord, and it cost over $3,000 to run the league last year.
Wow.
That's just servers.
That's crazy.
And to think about it, we only had 3 main servers for I'd say less than half the year. So things are going up, and it's not giving money to us, but it's helping us out, and it's helping them out. I mean, at the same time, those setups have done quite a lot. I mean, there is so much potential you can find when you hit that brick wall and you try a different setup. And a lot of these goes have helped me get through the walls, especially at Nürburgring. That was one that I really noticed a difference at.
Yeah, I use Ghost Sips for everything now. I make the occasional small tweaks to the way I drive, but otherwise, I mean, the setups are made perfectly. There's tracks where the safe setup suits you better. There's sometimes when the esports setup suits you better. It's the high life, I would say.
Yeah, you've got such a variety at your fingertips. It's not just here's quali, here's race. It's here's 2 different kinds of quali setups. Here's 2 different kinds of race setups. You pick what you like. Here's a variety for you, and they are going to work.
Yes.
I mean, they're not as in depth as some people go, but they do also post hot lap videos on YouTube, and on their YouTube channel they have. I'm pretty sure it's all cars, all tracks, but
I
you can look up.
believe so, yes.
You can just look up your car in the track with Go setups, and if it's not them, someone else has put a hot lap up with their times.
Hmm.
They do have reference sheets for what kind of lap times those setups developed. So essentially, like what's capable with it, and I'd say there's some of the higher charts around. So these setups are fast,
Yeah, they're fast and they're comfortable.
no doubt. It doesn't feel like a knife's edge. that alongside the that track racer sponsorship from last episode is just giving everybody a beautiful setup for season 6.
There's a lot going into SRA that is really cool. It helps everybody either improve, make it more entertaining, and kind of make them look forward to racing.
Exactly. And from us to the admins, the people that go out and do this and do the delegating in the meetings and all of this stuff, because I hate meetings. Uh,
Yeah.
Thank you for going out and exploring these options. Like, realistically, all this stuff's out there if you try or if someone's interested, but you still have to try. And, the fact that they reached out and they said yes, it's like, hell yeah, go admins.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Shout out to all the admins, all the managers, yourself included, Josh.
I don't do much. I just go out in the wrong qualifying session and announce the wrong session, wrong group first. No big deal.
That was so funny. That was so funny.
Quali starts. Hey, gold's first. 2 people correct me. Nah, man, it's silvers. Meanwhile, I'm out on track.
Oh god, that was so funny.
Dude, I got out of my seat after getting back to the thing, and look at my Discord screen. I have DMs from 4 people.
Oh my gosh.
Just like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing like people know now.
Yeah, that I'm just stupid.
Well,
Shouldn't
no,
expect me to
not
do that.
not that. That was not what I was gonna say, but they just kind of know the routine now. So
Yeah, it's nice when you don't have to remind everybody all the time. But
yeah,
sometimes it's
like
what is my job anymore? I don't have to say anything.
there's no purpose.
Yeah, what is my purpose? You press start session. Oh my god.
That's huge. Yeah. So when your PC dies next time, don't worry, you're good. We got you.
Hey, if this thing dies, I'm out of here. But
You're
like,
done.
on that note, side fun fact, I was sitting here the other day with AC open, and I put my hand at the back of the computer because I'm curious. And it's chucking a lot of hot air out of the case. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's a lot of airflow. I pull up my temperatures. I'm like, GPU's at 50 degrees Celsius. Wow, just the stark difference in cooling.
Wasn't it like 102 or something like that? Your old
Yeah,
one?
I got up over 100 degrees Celsius on the
That's right.
GPU.
That's intense.
Yeah.
You know what else is intense? Campers. All right, round 8. Kailami. The
Wow.
final round.
Come on then, you want to take the transition? You can go for it.
I was just queuing it up for you.
Okay.
I'm the Kobe tier Shaq.
Well, pick I don't know basketball, but pick somebody who really misses layups.
Who really misses layups? Not a lot of people.
Me when I play basketball. So,
Oh, okay. There you go.
the Kobe to Josh who throws it into the stands.
I'm no
Round
Kobe.
Yeah, you is.
No.
Round 8, Kobe Lamy. Kai Lamy.
Oh my god, that's a new one.
Yeah, we've got a
Kobe.
trillion nicknames to the point that we made an announcement about this track and people didn't understand the nickname, so we got to go back to calling it by name, I guess. So Kai
Yes.
Lamy is going to play host to the season finale of season 5. It's going to be a night race. You can't see them, but I hope that the steps in my pronunciation there emphasize the air quotations I'm holding up. Because, night races aren't really night races, kind of like our wet races aren't usually wet races. This, like we were saying earlier, this track is a little bit of a menace all over the place. There's a lot of, I wouldn't say off camber, but flat corners.
Yeah.
There's a couple blind corners, and there's just as much as Laguna sausage curbs and just curbs that if you touch them will destroy your lap time.
Yeah, this track is like severe in elevation change, and I feel like a lot of the corners are in like very going up or down, and which makes it blind. So you're kind of just hoping there's nothing around the corner, and you're hitting the right spot. And it's going to be a little different when we get late evening. I'm not going to call it night because it's not going to be night. We're going to call it late evening.
That is correct.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a wild one, I think.
I think so too. This is this track is really wide, so it
Mm,
produces a lot of open eyes for overtaking, and I would not be surprised if we see four wide into turn one at one point. Um, but I think
maybe
the
5.
yeah, maybe
Hopefully
if
not.
Bailey comes in with a surprise undertake,
My P41 to P10
there you
left
go,
in turn 1.
there you go, NASCAR style.
Exactly.
I think the most critical part of this track though is going to be that turn 12, 13, 14 complex coming into sector 3. Like
Yes, I agree.
that area of the track again, it's so wide that yes, there's a lot of room, but it makes it very hard to see the braking markers.
Yes.
And it's kind of in the middle, like where you brake for that corner, I wouldn't call it at the corner. To me, it feels like it's in the middle of the straight.
Yeah.
So it's so hard to time, and then the corner falls away from you at the apex. You need a good run through 14. That way you can have an effective 15 or cheetah, whatever you'd like to call it. But
Ida.
that that braking zone into 13, a lot of people like to push it down the inside, and I think it's going to be switcheroo central.
I think so too, because we're going to see a lot of people try and break late and breaking late. I mean, you can. I mean, there's plenty of space to break late if you miss it, but we're going to see a lot of over late breakers, which is going to set up the other car to maneuver their way past.
Yeah, and if anybody else is close by, it's pretty much a guarantee. Like the difference in, I don't know if you've noticed in a lap time, you hit that apex perfectly and then you get your delta off of that lap time, you go and miss the apex.
Yeah,
It's like
completely.
3/4 tenths, 5 tenths.
Yes.
Like it's a massive difference in speed. Those people are coming
Yeah.
up on you, and then you now have no room to go into cheetah. The other carb is not going to have any room to go into cheetah, so now you're risking collisions. It's just, it's a very critical area of the track to hit correct.
Yeah, especially Cheetahs. I feel like another part of this track with the margin of error is Cheetah, with it being if to hit that line, you have to be so precise because
Yeah.
you can go either really fast and be almost flat out, or you can take it cautious and either take it too shallow and take the sausage and end up in the wall, or you can take it too deep, which is the grass, which is also the wall.
Yeah.
Um, but personally, what I found to be the hardest part was La Cop, turn 10, the blind uphill braking zone.
That that corner is pretty tough. What do you find hardest about it?
Finding where I'm braking and then the turn in, because you kind of want to have like you don't want to come to like a complete stop, but you kind of just want to let the car drift out through the corner.
Hmm.
Um, I usually find myself braking too early, and then I'll come around again, and then I'll brake significantly way too late.
Yeah.
So it's like finding that sweet spot every time is tough because there's no real clear braking zone. A lot of people say to be, I think it's on the right side, the steward's tent,
It is on the left.
left side. Yeah, the left side. They say that that's usually the spot to hit, but I feel like that's too early sometimes.
Yeah, as do I. I was noticing that. And then I'd start to let off the brakes and try and roll into the corner, and it's like I'm scrubbing the tires, so clearly I'm
Yep.
carrying too much speed. Like it's gonna be
Yeah.
it's gonna be a tight one, especially when you're trying to battle somebody there. That's another one
Yeah.
where we might see a few people go park under the Fanatec board.
Yeah. Either a couple of punts as well would be my guess.
Yeah.
Especially because you could get that good exit out of the S's there in 8 and 9 and be all the way up on their bumper there into 10 and then absolutely miss it because you've got the speed.
Now, you only had the one race here in the rain, but I mean, I don't know what kind of practicing you did. Have you ever
Enough.
had somebody blow that corner while you're in the middle of taking the left?
Um, I've I might have. I just know that's happened on different tracks before, and it's scary.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I had someone come flying right across the front of my car, like as if it seemed as if they broke in the grass on the right hand side of the track. The car kind of did a
Yeah.
flick and just sent them left.
Yes.
Is my assumption, because how else would he be going that straight? He was a dead straight line, like fast, and I was in the gas. I almost, oh my God, it was scary.
Well, then the even scarier part is by the time you get to the corner, they're probably coming up the hill, so they just come out of nowhere.
Yep, it's literally
Yeah.
you come around the corner and then you've got mail.
Yes, exactly. The old AOL quote. Yeah.
That
But
quote lives rent free in my head. That soundbite.
yeah, I'm with you. The one thing that I'm gonna have to get used to is this turn one as well. It's the same with Laguna with the turn one kink.
Yeah, stupid middle of the road, not really a
Yeah,
corner.
no, still can go 5 wide if you want.
This corner, or this track, Laguna and Red Bull Ring all need to sit down and figure out what the fuck their problem is with naming non-corners as corners.
Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, so you go from this, you know Red Bull Ring.
I do.
You take the right-hander, that's turn one.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
kink in the straightaway is turn two.
Oh, see, it's different for a lot of series.
Okay, in Formula One,
Yeah,
uses
Formula
that.
One, is it?
It
Is it?
it's considered turn two.
Oh, I didn't think that. I just thought that was like more of a GT corner or a
Regardless, though, it's not
motocross
even
or
a
something.
corner. Now,
No, it's
motocross.
not. Imola as well. Don't forget about Imola.
Oh yeah, that's true too. I was gonna say motocross. Have you seen the different layout they use at Red Bull Ring?
I have, yes.
That's a really cool change up. Just putting a
I
chicane in
agree.
the middle of
Well,
that.
yeah, I mean, Red Bull Ring is pretty boring by itself,
It's
in my
ri-
opinion.
it's fun in fast cars, and that's it.
Yes,
Like, sorry,
yes,
fast automobiles.
yes,
Can't do it in these cars. But it is a
for
little
sure.
boring.
Yeah. So luckily we aren't going there.
No.
It's gonna be an Audi. That would be an Audi house.
Yeah, yeah. You would have a heyday
Oh,
there.
I would love it.
Fuck. You know where we need to go? We need to go to the Nordschleife. We need to
That would be a long race.
we need to have a 5 lap
10
race
laps.
at the Nordschleife.
Whoever survives wins.
Exactly. Drive to Survive, the real one.
Oh, no. That'd be crazy if it wasn't even like a timed race or a lap race. It's just who will last.
Yeah, there you go. Fill your car up to full. No pit
Yeah.
stops,
And
no
you
tire changes. Whoever lasts the
and then
longest.
exactly. And then you have to hit a certain lap time for it to count. You can't just crawl.
Yeah.
Now that's a race.
Hey man, we do have that Assetto Corsa chat, which I don't know if you look at that, but the races we're starting to do in there, that's a lot of fun.
I don't myself participate in the Assetto Corsa races. I do not own the game.
Fair enough. It's
So,
pretty cheap, but very mod happy. Like there's all kinds of people created vehicles tracks that are all very high quality, and some of them are low quality, but we use some pretty high ones. And we're making a mock season. We're just gonna follow the WEC championship and do a
there you
race at
go.
each track that they go to. And we've got like the 2021, 2022 LM, whatever it is, LMH cars, LMP1. We've got GTEs, we've got GT3s. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that does sound pretty fun, but I got a lot on my plate. I got a couple of leagues going on already, so
Yeah, you're
I don't know if I want to get involved in another quote unquote league or game, shall I say.
you're out here chasing the real championships, not the fun.
Exactly.
You're trying to get those dubs. Rise, brother, we must acquire the bread.
We'll try. I might get some really raw dough.
Not very yeasty today, eh?
No, too much water.
Too much water. Sandy, I need some water.
Water.
All right. Last announcement. Season 6 has had some announcements made about it. We've gone over most of the dates, but we'll go over those again at the end. Kai Lamy is going to be our qualification track.
How about that?
So I think that's part of why we're seeing a bit of influx on the charts and stuff. But nonetheless, I think it's nice because it's going to keep people from having the ability to sandbag.
Yeah, well,
Because
current people
are you gonna sandbag your championship race too? Probably not.
more than yeah, unlikely. Well, and plus you just did a whole season in division, so it's going to be very hard to sandbag.
Exactly. It'd be a very, very big outlier if all of a sudden you
Yeah,
finish last. But yeah,
you can try it though. Good luck.
it's gonna be interesting. Kailami's a little bit of a different challenge this time compared to the other tracks.
Hmm.
This season we are going to be only staying with 6 divisions. We're not adding another 4 divisions and 6 streams and 2 subcategories. we're just going to stick with what we got. We're going to try and fill out all the grids because D6 has been needing some love. They've had a hard time filling up their grid, so we're shooting for 50s across the board, and I think we're also shooting for better, not better, more consistent streaming. Hopefully some sort of solution for the D5 and D6 streams. But yeah, it's more about refining what we have in this upcoming season.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I think if we get 6 divisions locked in, get it set in stone, I think next season will be really fun to be a part of.
Exactly. And we're not at the point that we need to, like in the previous seasons, we were at 4 divisions and we had 5 divisions worth of people that were ready to race. We still don't have 6 full divisions worth of people that are ready to race. So
Yeah,
let's just fill
I'm
up what
sure
we
we'll get
got
there.
because all it's going to do is make the championships even tighter.
Yep.
And to be honest, I don't think we need 7 divisions.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, let alone, not to be selfish, but if we had 7, 8 divisions, we would be here forever talking about them.
Yeah, people are already like, an hour and a half. And it's like, buddy, we still don't go into depth on the races.
No, we just pick and choose.
But that's okay. We're here to make content for you guys, so
Exactly.
we
We're the entertainers.
we try and squash it down, but we also still want to give you guys some love. So try and talk about what happened in the races.
Yep. Give some shout outs to some well-deserved drivers for the week. So,
Exactly. Exactly. But on that note, I don't really have anything else to add. How about yourself, Bailey?
I don't. I mean, we got one more week of season 5. Gonna be doing a lot of practicing up and down the SRA grid. So, gonna be looking forward to that. See the new people come in. Maybe see some division changes, but I mean, otherwise, I think we covered it all. I think we had a pretty fun episode. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's always a good time coming up here. I like recapping the league. Helps me learn about all the shit that I can't watch because I can't watch 6 divisions a week. I can't.
I,
But
I can't mentally do it either.
but being able to come and talk about it and hearing about like how everybody else did and learn more about all the other drivers in the league, like it's awesome. I like it.
Yeah, it's fun.
So from myself, from Bailey, and from In Spirit Lucas, we will see you next week. Well, as we'll get to in a little bit, we are gonna see that track involved with season 6. Oh wait, no, never mind.
What? Huh?
Huh? Who?
Huh?
Huh?
What?
Who?
What is happening?
We're just gonna cut this section out.
Is that true?
No, because I thought we were talking about Kailami.
Oh, no, no, no. Okay.
Um, I lost my train of thought now.
You were moving on to